All right, here we go. We're on chapter 5.6. Let's finish this up real quick. Actually, there's really not much new today. Okay, we're just putting things together in a way you're probably not used to it. So first things first, complex conjugates. A complex conjugate, first of all, a complex number is one with an imaginary number in it. Like 1 plus 3i. That is a complex number. All right, the conjugate would be the same thing, but instead of the plus, it has a, can you guess it? Minus. A minus. So these are conjugates. Okay, just a big fancy word for, hey, one's got the plus and one's got the minus. Another way to look at a conjugate, so if I had, let's see here, negative 4i and positive 4i, those would also be conjugates. Okay, and also, remember when we did, they call it the radical root theorem, whatever it's called, whenever we said if we have like 1 plus the square root of 2, well, we also have 1 minus the square root of 2. The same thing is true with imaginary numbers in polynomials. If I have a polynomial with a solution of I also have the negative one. I also have a plus and a minus. Okay, and that goes if it's 1 plus I got a 1 minus I. If I got a 1 minus 2i, I got a 1 plus 2i. That sort of thing. Okay? So that's that. Those are the conjugates. Again, you've heard it just not put with complex numbers before. The fundamental theorem of algebra basically means this. The number of solutions.
Was that a 4 or y?
The number of solutions. Let's erase this and give this a. That's an of.
4?
That's a 4. The number of solutions equals the biggest exponent. That is basically what these giant paragraphs down here say. All right? The number of solutions equals the biggest exponent. Okay? And now those solutions can be doubles and triples. So you can have 3 solutions of positive 3. That's considered 3 solutions. All right? And that's okay. You have to count 3 times. So here we go. Let's book it down to the bottom real fast. So for example, letter A. All right, if you have your biggest exponent is an x cubed, it has a degree of 3. So therefore there are 3 roots. Wow, it does not like me writing like that. I have to write slower. There are 3 solutions. Okay? Letter B is an x to the 4th. That is the degree. That is the biggest exponent. Therefore, there are 4 solutions.
So that's what you look for?
The question says, state the number of zeros. That's what it tells you to do.
And when it says that,
All right, so
the largest exponent?
pretty much. So letter C, how many answers are there to letter C?
4.
4. How many answers are there to letter D? 6. Okay, so yes, you could look for those answers. Okay, you could. Now, I will give you a hint. When building a problem, if we're telling you to solve it, we will give you a problem that is solvable in some form or another. All right? Technically, they're all Jonathan. You got to go get a schedule. Jonathan. All right, here we go. If we tell you to solve it, that means we have built it to be solved. All right? So if you'd have tried to solve this, it might not really be solvable. It might be the 3rd rung of hell trying to get through this thing. You follow me? So if you're sitting there going, what on earth is going on? And you read the instructions and you go, oh, I'm just supposed to put a 4 there because it's x to the 4th. All right, don't try and solve them because they might be hell, literally. Okay? Any questions about that? Cool. Next page. Let's keep rolling. Find all the zeros. Find all the zeros. So first things first, letter A. How many zeros will there be in this one? 5. Yay! So here we go. First things first. Oh, we found it all. Second things second. Pull out your calculator. Pull out your calculator. I got to clear this one out. So y equals. Let's hit clear. So, and put it in. This was x to the 5th. And I can't look at it anymore. I can only look at it one at a time. What's the next term in this equation?
x3
plus x to the 3rd. Then what?
minus 2x squared.
Then what?
Minus 12x.
Minus 12x. Then what?
Minus 8.
Minus 8?
Yeah.
Cool. So stick that in your calculator, just like that.
Your battery's full?
My battery is full, yes, because my computer is plugged in. Yeah, and then we'll graph it. Yay! Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba.
And it still grabs it like an actual calculator.
Yeah, this is a calculator emulator, is what it is. This is a TI-84. Then it's a plus CE, so it's the color, whatever. I can actually emulate y'all's if I wanted to, but anyways, I like this one better. So here we go. If I go to the table, that's really where I want to go. If I go to the table, where is this thing? What are your solutions for this? -1 and 2. Exactly. Now, here's the fun part. If I go back to the graph real fast. All right. What is special about this one? What's so special about that one? It's a parabola, yes. It's a vertex. It touches it and goes back. What does that tell you about the number of roots right here?
It's infinite.
Nope. Do you remember? There are 2 of them. Remember, if your line goes straight through it, that means there's 1 solution right there. If it bounces off of it, that means there are 2 solutions right there. If it slows down, kind of curves, and goes back, there are 3 solutions right there. Y'all remember that?
2 of them?
So there are 2 -1s right there. All right. Yes, your chart only shows 1, but if you came to the graph and realized, oh, well, it goes up there, it bounces off and comes back down, there are really 2 solutions right there. Cool. So we'll go back over to here. Nope, go back to there. Boom. We have 2 -1s and a +2. Those are 3 of our solutions right there. Cool. Anyone struggling as to why there are 2 -1s? Yes. All right. So basically, here's what this is. If you have a graph, all right, if I were to have, like if I solve the equation, I go, oh, well, x equals 2. That's 1 solution. It's going to go right through it at 2. Cool?
That's an example, right?
If, this is a complete example, don't write this down. Hey, if we found x equals 2 for one of them, but then we got, again, we had an x minus 2, which gave us a 2. We had another x minus 2. So we had an x plus 2 there, x equals 2, and another x equals 2. You follow me? We had the same thing twice. So this one comes down to the 2, touches it, and then goes back up. That's just what the graph does. Does that make sense? All right. Don't ask why. Just know that this is what happens. Okay. So if I were looking at my what's it called? Calculator. Yeah. I notice, hey, the graph came up here and bounced off and went back down. Therefore, I know we have 2 solutions at x equals at -1. Does that make a little more sense? Okay. That's what's going on there. All right. So you go back to this. Let's erase all that. Did I get it all? Nope, not even hardly. Let's try that. All right, last one. So let's divide it out. -1. Break out your coefficients. So for synthetic division, what are we going to put up there?
1, -2, -12, -8.
Is there 1, 0?
Good. There's a 0 up there. Don't worry, every single period has missed it. All right, but y'all found it eventually. All right, so here we go. If we're missing an x to the 4th, we have to put the 0 in there for it. So here we go. Drop the 1. What's 1 times -1?
-1.
-1. Add them up, you get? Times -1 is?
1.
Plus 1 is?
2.
Times -1.
-2.
Add them up, you get?
-4.
Times -1.
Positive 4.
+4. Minus 12.
I don't know. 8.
-8. Times the negative makes it?
Positive 8.
Add them up, you get?
0.
0. Cool. So that's one of the ones. I knocked one of them out. Okay. What do you want to do next? You want to do the 2 or you want to do another -1?
-1.
I heard the -1 first, sorry. Okay, so drop the 1. 1 times -1 is? -1. Add them up, you get? -2. Times -1 is? Add them up, you get? Times -1?
Add them up, you get times -1. Add them up, you get. Great. What's the last one we have to do? 2. So 1 times 2 is. Add them up, you get 0. 0 times 2 is. Plus 4 is. Times 2 is. Add them up, you get 0. Cool. All right, so if nothing else, you've proven that those 3 are out. But what you've really done is you've pulled those 3 solutions out of the equation. So now all I have to deal with is this bad boy down here. I'm going to use that to find the other 2 solutions. Okay? What polynomial does that leave us with? X squared plus 4. Good. Remember, that's your constant. That's your x. That's your x squared. If there was another one to be x, that would be the x cubed, and so on and so forth. So we go x squared plus 4 equals 0. And solve it. How would you solve? Subtract the 4, so x squared equals -4. Now what? What's up? Square root it, exactly. So when I square root this thing, there are 2 things that happen. First of all, what's the square root of 4?
2.
2. What happens to the negative? Becomes an I. Good. And when I take a square root to get rid of a square, what do I do? Well, you don't. It does have to do with the sign. It's a plus or minus. Good. It's because we did a square root to get rid of a square, there's going to be a positive and a negative side. So your final answer is x equals, come on, -1, -1, 2, and plus or minus 2i. Those are the 5 answers to this polynomial. That would be the appropriate response, yes. And that's on the video. You could have done worse. Cool. Any questions about this? All right, so like I said earlier, there's really nothing new with this. All right, we've gone into our calculator before to find the ones that come out evenly. We've used synthetic division to come down to the bottom. We've solved an x squared plus something else before. We know how to do all of those. It's just putting them together. Okay? I don't want to do letter B. I want to switch to the next page. Let's go to the next page. Okay? Same deal. Start off. Put it in your calculator. Take that, put it in your calculator. All right? So, start off 2n. All right, so y equals clear. I have an x to the 5th. Then what's the next term?
Minus 6x cubed
6x to the 3rd.
Plus 10x
Plus
squared.
10x squared.
Minus 3x.
Minus 3x.
Minus 18.
Minus 18. All right, so that's letter C. Sweet. So second table. Huh?
Does it just have this?
What 2 points do we choose from the table? Or what 2?
Well, basically you find anything that crosses the x-axis. So -3, -1, and 2. -3, -1, and 2. Those are all solutions. And now if I actually go to the graph, the question is, are any of them doubles? So if I look at this, are those singles or doubles? They're all singles. So cool. Let's go back. Oh, everybody cool with why they're singles? Sweet. They go straight through it. They're singles. All right. All right. Switch monitor. No, I want to go back here. So I got what? -3 as 1, -1, and 2. So let's do it. Which one you want to do first? Okay, heard that one first. So if I pull up my coefficients, what are your coefficients?
1.
0.
Good. Okay, so drop your 1. What's 1 times 2?
2.
Plus 0
2.
times 2
4.
minus 6.
2.
Close.
-2.
-2 times 2. Plus 10.
Uh,
6.
6.
You're doing great. 6 times 2. Minus 3.
Okay.
Times 2.
Yeah.
Good. I know, I'm going quick.
Yeah.
I know. All right, we did the 2. Which one you want to do next?
Negative
1?
one.
All right, -1. Yeah, save the 3 for last. Why not? Okay, so 1 times a negative is? -1. Plus 2 times -1. Minus 2
Negative 3.
times -1. Plus 6
9.
times -1.
Negative 9.
Plus 9.
0.
Yay! All right, what's the last one we got to do? -3. Let me give myself enough room. -3. So 1 times -3
Negative 3.
plus 1
Negative 2.
times -3.
Negative 6.
Positive 6. Minus 3 is?
3.
Times -9.
Negative.
Yeah, whatever. -9 is 0. My bad. 3 times -3 is -9. So, if that's what's left over, what is your polynomial?
X squared minus 2x plus 3.
Good. I'll pause. Anybody got a problem with what we've done so far? No? 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 Sweet. You might in a minute, but that's okay. So here's the deal. If we were to solve this from here, let's think of factoring this thing for a second. You don't have the fourth one, so we can't use factoring by grouping. Okay? If you got 3 terms, what do you normally do?
Factory.
Factor. What do you mean by factor? Describe what you're doing.
At 1.
Foil, the foil type thing. Put up your parentheses and go. Here's the problem with this. What multiplies to 3 but adds up to -2?
Nothing.
They add up to 4.
Negative 3 and 1.
Those multiply to a -3.
Nothing.
Nothing. So if we got the foil thing, but the foil's not working because it doesn't work, does anybody remember what we're supposed to use? There you go. -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Don't hate me yet. We haven't gotten to the next page. All right, so here we go. Plug them all in. Your b value is what? -2, so it becomes a +2. +2 plus or minus the square root of, what is -2 times -2? 4. Minus 4 times, your a value is? 1. Your c value is? 3 over 2 times 1 is still 2. All right. So we fill it in real quick. What is 4 times 3? 4 times 3 is 12. So 4 minus 12 is -8. So 2 plus or minus the square root of -8 over 2. And I'll kind of move that over there. Cool. So let's deal with that -8. What perfect square goes into 8? 4. Good. So we'll take out the -4. What's the square root of -4? 2i. Thank you very much. With that 2 left over. Sweet. We're getting there. We're almost there. 2 plus or minus 2i on the square root of 2 over 2. That's a lot of 2's. Can we do anything else to this? Divide all your coefficients. Your coefficients are these guys up front. Divide all them by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is? So 1 plus I on the square root of 2. Plus or minus, thank you. So your answers are -3, -1, 2, and 1 plus or minus I on the square root of 2. Don't count yourself short. Depends on what you do with your real life.
It's certain like that.
Yes, ma'am. Sure, why not? Cool. Whether you use this or not, I don't know. But I do know you're going to be combining complex concepts the rest of your life. Because I'm sorry, life is complex.
It is right.
Straight up. You don't believe me? Try having a kid.
Too late.
And then when you're done with that, Try having 2 kids.
Oh my god, that's it.
Too late.
Then try having 3.
Too late.
Do you just
And if you haven't learned your lesson by then, have 4.
Yeah, no.
What's really funny is there's at least one person in the room is like, my mom has 15 kids. Has she not learned her lesson yet? Nope. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. All right. But again, this comes back to y'all have done everything up here. You have found your roots. You've used synthetic division. You've used the quadratic formula before. This is all stuff you can do. You follow me? Again, it's just putting it together. Sweet?
Yep.
Turn the page. And I told you, you haven't even gotten to the next page yet. She's like, what's coming up? All right, so you remember when we said if I have a negative square root of 7 as an answer, I also have a what?
Positive.
Positive square root of 7 as the answer. The same thing is true with
Why
I.
don't you just put negative, positive?
Well, I understand. I'm completely with you, but if these are my solutions, I also have a what?
3 minus I.
3 minus I. All right? And this, nope. Just that one in the middle. Because you remember we got to the quadratic formula and we had 2 plus or minus 2i. You follow me on that? That's why it's only in the middle. That quadratic formula we just did had those conjugates in it. So here we go. Remember, it's x minus the solution. That's how we build it. And this is literally the exact same thing we did on Tuesday, except with a 9 instead of a square root. Okay? So if a solution is 2, what is the root? X minus 2. For an x of 3 plus I, we'll put up a bracket. X minus what?
3.
Keep going. Plus I. Do we have to do it again?
No, please.
Yeah, for the 3 minus I. X minus 3 minus I.
God punching.
Is God punishing you? I don't know. What have you done? All right. All right, what do we do next? Do you distribute the negative? Exactly. Somebody's done their homework since Tuesday.
Must be nice.
All right. So here we go. Distribute that negative. So that's an x minus 3 what? Negative times a positive is a? Negative. There we go. X minus 3, then what? Plus I. Sweet, and I'll get everybody there. All right, what are we going to do next? Good. We're going to combine that left-hand side. So we have x minus 3's on the left, and we have i's on the right. When she comes back. All right, so here we go. We got an x minus 2 on the left. And what are we going to put on the left of this?
I.
3 minus 3 is squared.
Good. And then what's negative I times positive I? Negative I what?
Squared.
Squared. Cool.
No.
C. So here we go. Anybody remember what I squared equals?
Same thing as 1.
It's a 1, but it's not just a 1, it's a
Negative 1.
negative 1. I squared is negative 1. Straight up. Because it's the square root of negative 1 times the square root of negative 1, which is just negative 1. That's why. All right, so here we go. What are we going to do next? Besides change that I here in just a second, what else we got to do? Has to do with this bad boy. Just go ahead and multiply it out. No, you don't distribute the exponent, but you do straight up x minus 3 times x minus 3.
Isn't it squared negative 9 plus 9?
It's going to be x squared minus 6x plus 9. So 3 times 3 is 9. Negative 3 times x is negative 3x. X times negative 3 is negative 3x. And x times x is x squared. So when you multiply those two together, it's x squared minus 6x plus 9. You know how to do those ones. I know. This is your junior and or senior year. We are no longer allowed to forget anymore. X squared minus 6x plus 9. And that I squared is a negative 1, so a negative negative 1 becomes a positive 1. He's like, I just want to go home and cry. Can I please? No, but you may cry. And 9 plus 1 is what?
Good.
10.
Oh. Negative I squared, it was negative 1.
You're right, because this is a negative 1.
Oh.
You follow me? That's why. So it becomes a positive 1. All right, what is the last thing we need to do? Multiply by x minus 2, exactly. So negative 2 times 10 is negative 20. Negative 2 times negative 6 is what? So positive 12x. Negative 2 times x squared is negative 2x squared. Then if I multiply everything by an x, I've simply raised the exponent by 1. So your final answer is x to the third minus 8x squared plus 22x minus 20. Sweet. It literally is straight up the exact same thing that we did. It just has an I. The only difference is, what do I do with the I squared? That is the only difference. Cool? Can we do one more?
No.
Are you actually going to do homework?
Yes. Are you?
I mean, you can be done.
I finished 5.4.
She'll come back in a second. Here you go. So letter C.
We're at 5.2.
Did anybody see the issue with this one yet?
It's the square root.
Yeah, so we got the I and we got the square root. So if I have this one, what else do I have?
Positive,
A negative 2I.
negative.
If I have this one, I also have a
4 plus 2
4 plus square root of 6. Is it starting to sink in what's going to happen? Yeah, so I got the 2. So what's that factor?
Negative.
So how would you write it though? X not plus 2, x minus 2. All right. Thankfully, this is just a 2i, so I can go x minus 2i and x plus 2i. All right. I don't have to do the whole big bracket thing. Do I have to do the big bracket thing for the square roots? Yeah. So we've got x minus 4 minus root 6 and x minus 4 plus root 6. And that is the thing we have to deal with. Now, here's what I would do at this point. I would take your equation and I would draw a line right down the middle, just so you could visually deal with them separately. You follow me? Okay? So but when you're done, you have to multiply them together, because the left side, there's nothing in the middle there, so you have to multiply the left to the right once you've got your answers. Okay? So here we go. If I have x minus 2, this is an x on the left and a 2i on the right. So if I put x's on the left, that's going to be an x. What's x times x? X squared. What's 2i times 2i? 4i squared. So I got a negative 4i squared. Which I squared equals what again? Do you remember? Negative 1. Good. So that is a negative 4 times a negative 1, which is a positive 4. And an x minus 2. So multiply that by x minus 2. Cool. So what's 4 times negative 2? Negative 8. What's negative 2 times x squared? X squared. And I'm going to skip that spot. I'm going to go negative 2x squared. That way I have a spot for x's if I have it. You know what I mean? All right, let's do the x. What's x times 4? Okay, I needed that spot for the x's. What's x times x squared? X cubed. So on the left side, I got x to the third minus 2x squared plus 4x minus 8. That's the left side. Yay. All right, the right side, let's deal with that one. I got people to write. I do want to finish this up. We'll be done with it in 3 minutes. So, when dealing with these, what was the first thing you did? Yes, take care of your negatives. So we got x minus 4 plus root 6 and x minus 4 minus root 6. All right. Where'd we go from here? Good. Group the left side. So we can group it as x minus 4 squared on the left. And if I have a square root to 6 on the right, what are we going to put on the right? Just a 6, so minus 6. What on earth? Remember, because square root of 6 times negative square root of 6 is just negative 6. Cool. Where are you going to go from here? We are going to multiply, but is this multiplied out yet? Let's get this all done. Yeah, what do we need to take care of? We got to take care of the negative 6, but this one's got to be squared before I can subtract that one, right?
Yeah.
We're just following PEMDAS here.
X minus 4 times x minus 4.
Good. Okay, I thought you were saying something else. 4 times 4 is? 4 times x is? So keep your negative. X times negative 4, negative 4x. X times x is x squared. So that's x squared minus 8x plus 16. What's 16 minus 6? 10. So I'm just going to go ahead and write x squared minus 8x plus 10. That's your right side. So we got the left side all multiplied out. We got the right side all multiplied out. What do we have to do now? Multiply them together to get one big thing. So we've got x to the third minus 2x squared plus 4x minus 8. I told you every so often we do things that are huge. And let's do it. What's 10 times negative 8? Negative 80. What's 10 times 4? So 40x. What's 10 times negative 2? So negative 20x squared. Good. What's 10 times x cubed? All right, that's that one. Move over to the negative 8. Negative 8 times negative 8 is positive 64x. Negative 8 times 4 is so negative 32x squared. Negative 8 times negative 2 is positive 16x cubed. And then negative 8 times x cubed is negative 8x cubed. All right, last one. If you multiply everything by an x squared, we're simply raising the exponent by how many pieces? 2. So that's x cubed becomes an x fourth.
You have 2x cubed.
X cubed.
The negative dx.
Oh, yeah, I can't count. That's the fourth. You're right. Which means it's x to the fifth minus 2x to the fourth plus 4x cubed minus 8x squared. Nobody's crying yet. The very last thing we do, add them up. X to the fifth
We're done.
minus 10x to the fourth, almost, plus 30x cubed. That's 2, 5, 60x squared. I know. 60, that's 104 plus 104x minus 80. That is your final answer.
Do you ever get tired doing that?
I'm doing that. It's the 4th time I've done it today.
You don't get tired teaching it like every experience that?
No. It's like something I find interesting. Here, I'm gonna stop right here. I'm gonna stop.